Ladies and gentlemen, great to see you today and welcome, a big welcome to our Japan brochure launch party. This is where you're going to find out all about the new Japan touring collection, the brand new collection. And that collection is now available to view online, and you can also request one of the new brochures online as well too. So coming up in the show today, we're going to be traveling through Japan. We're going to be seeing all the amazing experiences, sights and sounds that you can experience in 2022, 2023, and would you believe 2024. So we're going to be taking you on a virtual tour of Japan on Japan Uncovered, which is one of Wendy Wu Tour's best-selling and most popular tours. Lots and lots coming up today. But ladies and gentlemen, do stick around until the end of the show, because at the end of today's show, we're going to be opening up our VIP travel lounge. And this is your opportunity to ask all the questions that you want to ask about traveling with Wendy Wu Tours, traveling on an escorted tour, and most importantly, traveling in Japan with Wendy Wu Tours. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined now by Peter Crane, Global Product Director here at Wendy Wu Tours. Peter, great to see you.
And you.
And ladies and gentlemen, Peter and the product team, they're the guys who put all of the holidays that you see online and in the brochures for Wendy Wu Tours together. So you could say that Peter and the team know a thing about traveling. Peter, fantastic to see that Japan is open. We're all excited, can't wait to get there. But what do we need to know? How do we get there? You know, what is the current travel situation?
It's great news, Andy. Since 10th of June, the Japanese government have reopened their borders to visitors, and they've put a few requirements in place that are quite straightforward to meet. The first of those is that you have to go to Japan with an approved tour operator, so companies like Wendy Wu Tours. Secondly, you have to have a visa. Thirdly, you have to have a PCR test, and finally, you need to be vaccinated. So we're in contact with all the customers booked to travel with us in the autumn of this year, and really looking forward to getting back on the road in Japan.
Brilliant news. All sounds great, Peter, but come on. What we really want to know, ladies and gentlemen, is why should we travel with Wendy Wu Tours to Japan? You know, after all, there are several different travel companies out there who go to Japan. Why Wendy Wu Tours?
Wendy Wu Tours are the market leader in escorted group tours to Japan. And we have been for a few years. The range of tours that we have there is second to none, and the range of departure dates that we operate, again, is second to none. So in terms of flexibility and options, we think we offer by far the best range of options in the market. What sets us apart, we think, is that our program is fully inclusive, and in a destination like Japan, which is a little bit complicated to navigate your way around independently, it's really important to be in the hands of an expert local guide who can show you the very best restaurants, the very best sites to visit, the very best experiences to enjoy, all in the format of your fully inclusive tour. So yes, that's in short, that's the answer. But on top of that, I'd mention that we have won the best best specialist tour operator in the Globe Awards in 12 consecutive years. So that speaks for itself.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, exciting news, hot off the press. We have the brand new Japan holiday collection. It's out now, ladies and gentlemen. You can view this gorgeous brochure online, and you can also request a copy online as well and have that delivered straight to your own front door. And Peter, I've got to say, I still do like holding a brochure in my hands when I'm looking for a holiday. I think you'll all agree, ladies and gentlemen. Looking through this new collection, two holidays that I'm really excited about: Japan by rail and Experience Japan. They look fantastic, Peter. Are these new?
These are our new programs in Japan. We're really looking forward to operating these tours for the first time in 2023. They are going to be sensational. Japan by rail is the longest tour in our program. It's 21 days, which for Japan is unheard of. It's a very comprehensive tour that starts in the south, finishes in the north. It covers the three main islands of Japan: Kyushu, Honshu, and Hokkaido. Japan by rail, as the name suggests, you're traveling mainly by railway, and I think there are no fewer than 15 rail journeys by bullet train, the National Express trains and some local trains as well, as you weave your way up through the islands. Absolutely amazing trip, and it's been very popular too since we launched it. It's been more popular than even we thought it would be, and we've laid on extra departures. So really looking forward to operating that one. Experience Japan, on the other hand, is shorter. It's only 11 days long, but this tour is really focused on the very unique experiences that you can do as a visitor in Japan to get under the skin of the country and learn about its people and its traditions. So during your 11 days, you'll be doing about 10, 11, 12 different experiences to take you into the destination, such as a tea ceremony, learning how to do origami or Japanese fan painting, learning how miso is manufactured and doing a miso tasting session, sake tasting, etc., etc. Probably the one experience for me that really is special, and you mustn't miss it, is to do a Japanese onsen, which is the natural thermal spring baths in Japan. Very traditional part of Japanese life, and you don't want to go to Japan and come back without having tried the onsen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said at the beginning, Peter and his team in the product team, they have travelled the length and breadth of Japan to find the best experiences and the best tours just for you. Peter, expert as you are in Japan, what are your must-sees? And how do we see these with Wendy Tours?
Well, Andy, if you're going to Japan for the first time, I think for most people the must-sees would include Tokyo, the capital, Kyoto, which is the cultural capital of the island, Mount Fuji and Osaka. So those four places are encompassed on all of our programs, cover those four places. If you have more time, I would urge you to do a wider trip and get either up to the north, up into the Japanese Alps, and experience rural Japan and learn about how the more traditional parts of Japan operate, or to the south, to the deep south, to Miyajima and Hiroshima, to learn about the southern parts of Japan. Our most popular tour in Japan is actually called Japan Uncovered. So this is a 2-week itinerary that encompasses the 4 highlights: Tokyo, Kyoto, Mount Fuji and Osaka, but also spends time in the south at Miyajima and up in the Japanese Alps, visiting the snow monkeys and traveling through the Alps and the more rural parts of the country. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, Peter, spring cherry blossom in Japan. We've missed it now for 3 years. We so want to do spring cherry blossom. It's one of the most spectacular events on the planet. But why, Peter, is it so special?
Well, the Japanese have a word for it. They call it sakura, and sakura is the word for cherry blossom. In Japanese culture, it represents the transience of human life. So it's a really special time of year when friends and family get together, traditionally sitting under the blossoms of a cherry tree as the blossoms fall, and they have picnics in the cherry tree orchards. The number of cherry trees in Japan is just amazing. Thousands and thousands of trees from north to south all through the country. So it's a spectacular sight, but for me what makes it special is the traditions and the chance to see everyday Japanese life happening in front of your eyes under these cherry trees.
Like I said, we've missed it now, ladies and gentlemen, for 3 years.
Yep.
So I imagine it's going to be pretty popular, big demand.
Yeah, next year is going to be unprecedented because 3 years of demand have pent up into one cherry blossom season, and it's a short period of time. It's only 3 weeks when the blossoms come out and reach their peak and then fall away. So it's going to be busy, but we have got lots of departures of our tours organised for this period. Some of them are sold out already, but we are working with our partners in Japan to lay on extra tours for our customers.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, great to see the new Wendy Tours Japan Holiday Collections 2023 and 2024 are out, but we have waited so long for Japan, Peter. We want to go. Our bags are packed and we are ready to travel this year. What do you recommend, Peter?
Well, if you want to go this year, there are options available, lots of options. We've got 30 tours departing in the next 3 months, in September, October and November. They will be timed to coincide with the autumn leaf season in Japan, which is alongside the cherry blossom. It's the best time to be there. The countryside is full of the most fantastically coloured ornamental trees, especially in the traditional Japanese gardens, which, as you know, are built around a pond or a lake, and the reflections of the ornamental trees in the water is just stunning to see. So it's a lovely time to be there. We have, as I say, got these 30 departures ready to go. Some of them fully booked, but there are spaces on others. And right now you can take advantage of two things: the a partner flies free offer that enables you to save £800 per couple, or £400 if you're travelling on your own. And also the other benefit of travelling this year in 2022 is you can book before the price increases take effect from January the 1st, 2023 onwards. So it's a good opportunity to travel with prices frozen and the offer in place.
Now, Peter, solo travel, hugely popular and an absolute growing trend now in travel. I also, ladies and gentlemen, like many of you, I do like to travel solo from time to time. So do these tours, Peter, do they cater for solo travellers, or is it all about being in a group?
Well, yes, Andy, these tours, along with all of our tours, are really suitable for solo travellers. Solo travellers travelling within the security of an organised group tour. So the fact that the tours are fully inclusive make them ideal, I think, for solos, because you're never faced with as a solo traveller, you'll never be faced on one of our tours with the possibility of eating on your own, or visiting a site on your own, or finding your own way from A to B. It's all organised for you. It's perfect. So as a solo traveller, you can take. There are two options. One is to join one of our regular tours, which traditionally you'll have about 30 or 40% of the group will be travelling on their own. The second option is to choose one of our solo departures. These are a handful of tours that we've set aside exclusively for people travelling on their own. And the reason for that is just to the sociability of travelling amongst other solo travellers. Those tours will have smaller group sizes, and also the benefits of a lounge on departure at the airport, and a drinks reception on arrival. And they're very popular. They're a lovely sociable experience for solo travellers to join one of those trips.
Sounds great, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't it? Yeah. Peter, thank you so much. Lots of very useful information there. Lots to hear about Japan. Thank you, Peter. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, like I say, you've heard lots from Peter today about the insider's guide to travelling in Japan. So you want to know now, when is the best time to visit? Well, we're going to show you a video which is going to answer just that. Plus, we're going to be taking you on a virtual tour of Japan on Wendy Wu Tour's most popular Japan tour. That's Japan Uncovered.
Hello, my name is Peter Crane. I'm Product Director here at Wendy Wu Tours, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to one of our favourite destinations in the world, Japan. Whether you visit Japan in March or April for the springtime cherry blossom season, or choose to travel in the equally spectacular autumn leaf season in September and October, when Japan's famous ornamental gardens are arguably at their very best, Japan is the destination that apparently has it all: a quite extraordinary history and cultural traditions like no other. Exquisite art and exquisite architecture. Sensational food, where every mouthful seems designed to offer up a different taste. And landscapes that are famous the world over, including this site, the iconic and perfectly symmetrical silhouette of Mount Fuji, Japan's highest point and regarded by many as its spiritual heart. So today I'd like to introduce you to the most popular of our 11 escorted group tours in Japan. This is a 17-day tour called Japan Uncovered, which in our view will show you the very best this country has to offer in a 2-week holiday. Starting in Osaka, the tour takes in the cultural highlights of Nara, Miyajima and Kyoto, then heads north to the Japanese Alps, and where we experience the beauty of the rural landscapes of Kanazawa, Takayama and Nagano, before exploring the equally spectacular region around Mount Fuji and ending the tour at Tokyo, a capital city like no other. We travel mainly by coach, following the normal Wendy-Woo policy of allowing 1.5 seats per passenger, and occasionally by bullet train as well, as I'll describe. The tour is escorted by a driver and a national guide, whose job it is to take care of you and all the logistics of the tour, from organising the excursions, the meals, and everything else. The tour is fully inclusive, so you don't have to worry about paying extra for meals, for excursions, or any of the many other activities included in the tour. We start in Osaka, Japan's third largest city, with a reputation for its flamboyance, its fun-loving people, and most of all, for its food. The street food here is out of this world, with local specialities like okonomiyaki, a Japanese-style savory pancake made from shredded cabbage, green onion, and often added pork and other seafood fillings. From Osaka, we visit nearby Nara, the first recognized capital of Japan, with no less than 8 UNESCO-listed historical sites. And also this place, pictured here, Osaka Castle, built in 1583 in a lovely hilltop location overlooking the whole city of Osaka. The following day, we drive west to Himeji Castle. This castle is older still. It dates back to 1333. Of all the castles in Japan, this must be the most impressive for its size and for its beauty. Locally, it's known as the White Heron Castle, and the lines of the architecture, along with its painted white exterior, do make it feel as light as a bird taking off. On a more somber note, we pause at Hiroshima to reflect on the devastation caused by the first atomic bomb in August 1945, but also to admire the way the city has since been rebuilt and now thrives as the leading city in southwestern Japan. From Hiroshima, we visit the nearby island of Miyajima and the lovely Itsukushima Shrine with its very famous floating torii gate. Now, a highlight of any tour to Japan is to travel by bullet train at speeds of up to 320 kilometers an hour or 200 miles per hour. On this tour, we use the bullet train to reach Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan. Kyoto was the capital city for over 1,000 years and still home to many of Japan's most iconic traditions, such as the custom of the geisha, the wearing of the kimono, and the very precise rituals of the tea ceremony. All of these we'll experience during our time in Kyoto. Kyoto is also home to the highest density of shrines and temples anywhere in Japan. For example, the stunning but minimalist Kinkakuji Temple, also known as the Golden Temple, set in its tranquil gardens and surrounded by water to show off the golden reflections. Perhaps the most spiritually evocative place we visit in Kyoto is the Fushimi Inari Shrine. It's in a beautiful setting with 10,000 vermilion painted torii gates. These gates represent the journey from the everyday world into the spiritual world. Driving north, we come to Kanazawa and visit Kenrokuen. This is one of the so-called three great gardens of Japan. These traditional Japanese gardens are designed very specifically to combine plants, rock, and water to create simple and clean lines for the eye to enjoy, reflecting tranquility and peaceful contemplation. Next, we venture into the Japanese Alps. This is a mountainous belt that stretches right across Japan's main island, Honshu, from east to west. And we drive first to the town of Takayama, pausing along the way to explore this town, pictured here, Shirakawagu, with its traditional 300-year-old thatched farmhouses. As you see from the picture, the pitch of the farmhouse roofs is very steep, and this is because this is one of the snowiest regions in the whole of Japan, where normally in a normal winter they'd expect 10 meters of snowfall. We stay nearby at Takayama, a traditional mountain town with many of its Edo period buildings still upright and still intact. And this area here, Takayama, is also famous for its beef. It's said to be the best beef in Japan, possibly in the world. The cattle is reared in the local area in the pristine mountain wet meadows, and for that reason is absolutely delicious. And we'll definitely get a chance to try it. We also visit the nearby 16th century Matsumoto Castle. This is known as the Crow due to its very dark wooden exteriors. Now, this more rural region of Japan is also perfect for getting close to some of Japan's deep-rooted traditions. We visit, for example, a miso house to learn about how to make miso paste, the staple ingredient in Japanese cuisine. We also go to a wasabi farm, pictured here, to learn about how wasabi is produced. Plus, we learn how to make washi paper in the traditional Japanese way, and we visit a samurai house to learn the culture and customs of the samurai. From Nagano, the city that hosted the 1998 Winter Olympics, we make a side trip to visit the Japanese macaques, best known as the snow monkeys, at Yudanaka, bathing in their hot springs. These are the most northern dwelling of all the monkey species in the world, and can only manage in these climates because of the thermal springs. These snow monkeys are famous for their intelligence. They've learned not only how to stay warm in the thermal waters, but also how to wash their food before eating it. And they sometimes even roll snowballs just for fun. From the Japanese Alps, we head south to Mount Fuji, Japan's highest mountain at 3,776 meters. This iconic mountain is intimately connected with so many aspects of Japan's history, its culture, and its identity. We spend a full day in the area with a cable car ride from Hakone and a boat trip on Lake Ashi, both with lovely views of the mountain and the surrounding landscapes. Finally, the tour ends at Tokyo with 2 full days to take in the best of the city. Few other places combine the ultra-modern and the ancient so effortlessly as Tokyo. We visit the 634-meter high Tokyo Skytree, the tallest tower in the world and the second tallest building in the world, with stunning views out across the city in all directions. We also walk over the iconic Shibuya crossing, symbol of modern Tokyo, and where up to 3,000 pedestrians can cross the road simultaneously. But there's time too to visit old Tokyo. For example, the Sensoji Temple, pictured here, which dates right back to the 7th century. This is the oldest and most sacred site in the city. So that brings us to an end of the Japan Uncovered tour. Because the tour is so varied and so comprehensive, it has become our most popular tour to Japan, as I said. Some of the departures in autumn this year and spring next year are already full or close to full. So all that remains for me is to say thank you very much for your time today. Thank you and goodbye.
Peter has shown you so beautifully the incredible sights of Japan. But for us, what makes this country so special is the unique culture. Japanese culture is ancient, and due to its historic isolation, it's developed a rich, multifaceted flavour unlike anywhere else on the planet. And of course, we want you to really get under the skin of that culture. There's no better way than immersing yourself in the local way of life than to experience it for yourself. So that's why we fill our tours full of hands-on activities. So, without further ado, here's our top must-dos for Japan, all of which can be sampled on a Wendy-Woo tour. The Japanese word geisha literally translates as person of art. Elegantly dressed in stunning kimonos, with poise second to none, a geisha is a woman that is classically trained in the art of music, dance and performance. There have been geishas in Japan since the 13th century, but you may not know they were originally men. Only in the 18th century did women start to outnumber men. Symbolic of the Japanese culture, no trip to Japan is complete without witnessing a geisha in her splendour. And the best way to immerse yourself into the Japanese culture is to learn about fascinating culture firsthand from a geisha herself. A slice of Japanese traditions and ideals served with a hot cup of matcha tea. Experiencing a tea ceremony provides the perfect insight into the aesthetics and principles of Japanese culture, and is about more than simply sipping the emblematic beverage. Brimful with history, the ceremony's rituals offer a window into a way of life better than perhaps any other experience in Japan. Hosting a tea ceremony is an art, and the host will usually be a master, having learnt the choreographed movements and studied art and philosophy to help truly appreciate the role. It's also the host's role to make the tea ceremony experience completely unique and do whatever they can to please their guests. Living with volcanoes can add a certain interest to daily life, it can't be denied. But on the positive side, it has also blessed Japan with thousands of natural hot springs that the local inhabitants have really made the most of. Onsen have been traditionally used for public bathing since the 14th century, and nowadays you can find them all over the country, often in beautiful natural surroundings. Supremely relaxing, men and women bathe separately. The only kind of bathing suits permitted are birthday ones. Nestled in a high valley, secluded amongst lush forests and surrounded by 8 mountain peaks, Koyasan was founded as a monastic complex in 816 AD, and since then it's grown into a vibrant settlement with over 100 temples. Whilst it's a wonderful place to visit, staying in the temples overnight gives you the chance to immerse yourself, if only briefly, in monastic life you'd otherwise miss. You'll enjoy a vegetarian Buddhist evening meal, sleep in simple yet comfortable accommodation, and enjoy the peaceful daily rhythms of this special place. In the morning, you'll get the opportunity to join Buddhist monks for their daily morning service. The gentle recitation and chanting of their prayer is a truly memorable experience and will set you in the perfect frame of mind to appreciate everything ahead of you in this once-in-a-lifetime journey. This is perhaps the shortest experience on our list, but is iconic nonetheless. Situated in the heart of Tokyo, surrounded by giant TV screens and flashing neon high-rises, Shibuya is an arresting sight, but it's when the lights change that things get really wacky. Shibuya is a scramble crossing, so all the lights change at the same time and pedestrians cross at all angles. The busiest road crossing in the world, up to 3,000 people cross at a time, and with little let up day or night, that adds up to nearly 1.5 million pavement pounders a week. If you want to really eat, drink and sleep like a local, a stay in a ryokan offers the ultimate experience of Japan. Traditionally, lodging inns for samurai and tradesmen, today they are beautifully preserved testaments to the art of Japanese hospitality. With traditional sliding paper doors, low wooden tables and futons with sitting cushions, these historic guest houses transport you back in time the moment you step through the door. You'll sleep on futons and tatami mats, dine on traditional food, and soak away your cares in the relaxing warm waters of an onsen. The symbol of Japan and one of its oldest sports, sumo wrestling is quite literally ground shaking. Dating back over 1500 years, many ancient traditions have been preserved in sumo, and even today it still includes many ritual elements. The doyo, or ring, is a sacred space, blessed by Shinto priests every morning. Contestants drink holy water to purify themselves, then throw salt to purify the ring before they enter it. They face each other, clap their hands to attract the attention of the gods, and stamp their feet to scare away evil spirits. And this is before the action has even started. Major bashos are held 6 times a year, and a visit to a tournament is included on many of our tours that depart in May and September. Any visitor to Japan knows that the country's cuisine is simply incredible. From delicious delicacies and hearty comfort food, high-end sushi restaurants to rustic street food stalls, there are so many different types of Japanese food to discover. The starting point for many of our tours, and also known as Japan's Kitchen, Osaka is the gateway to all things mouth-wateringly Japanese. Step into a world of food galore, taste the delights of okonomiyaki, a thick savoury pancake, and the classic takoyaki, a delectable dumpling snack served with a sweet sauce. The city's unofficial motto, Guadore, means to ruin oneself by extravagance in food. A motto I think we can all get behind.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've waited and you've waited and you've waited 3 years. You, like I, we're desperate to get away to Japan. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I want to go, but who do I go with? Do not worry, because at Wendy Wu Tours, we've got that covered with our Solo Travelers program. And talking of which, we have at the moment, as you will see online, we've got 50% discount. That's a 50% discount off the Solo Single Supplement for Travel. So that is a very good discount to use. And again, don't worry if you're thinking about traveling solo with Wendy Wu Tours. Well, it's a breeze. You'll never be alone. You'll have great company. Everything is taken care of. You can dip in and out of the tour. So what have you got to lose? Well, don't just take our word for it. Here's Fiona, who's just returned from Egypt.
I chose to travel solo with Wendy Wu Tours. This is my second trip solo with them, but I started off in China on a group tour. There were solo people, even though I wasn't on that one, and it was brilliant. They all mixed in, they look after you. I feel very safe with Wendy Wu because the guides are just brilliant. So yeah, I've never travelled solo on my own out of the group, and I don't think I'll go with any other group because Wendy Wu's looked after me so well. It's brilliant. Guides, brilliant. Have been on every tour I've been on with Wendy Wu. This trip in particular, we have an Egyptologist, so she's so knowledgeable, it's unbelievable. And we also had Sam, who greeted us at the airport, sailed us through that airport. All my worries and concerns completely gone, didn't need them, and they have been there for our every beck and call. So if you've never done solo before, I would recommend Wendy Wu Tours. Like the first time I travelled with them, I wasn't solo, but there were solo people within our group, and they just fitted in with the rest of us. And I thought, actually, I can do solo, and so this is my second solo with them because I feel so looked after. You don't have to think for yourself if that's the sort of thing you want. Yeah, and you just feel protected because you've got your guides with you all the time that know what they're talking about. So yeah, I would say use Wendy Wu Tours.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been great to see you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this, our Japan Brochure Collection travel show today. So that's the end of the first part of the show, but now the exciting part, we are opening up our VIP travel lounge. So please do stay with us, do join us in the lounge now. You'll see there is a button on your screen. You just press that button on your screen now and you'll be taken through to the travel lounge. And like I said, this is your opportunity to ask all the questions that you want to ask on traveling with Wendy Wu Tours, on traveling in Japan. The team of travel experts, Japan travel experts, they are waiting, they are ready to answer your questions in the travel lounge. So please do ask away. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, and I'll see you now in the travel lounge.
We found Wendy Wu to be spot on from start to finish, with all the actual interactions from the booking to the preparation for the trip to arriving at the airport. It's been painless and faultless. Wendy Wu, they really do look after you.
I've been on other tours before, and yeah, Wendy Wu definitely includes sort of a lot more, it makes it a lot easier.
I liked the idea of what Wendy Wu offered. They have an excellent reputation. So I looked at a number of other tour companies, but Wendy Wu seemed to be the best.
Everything being included is really important. It makes it very, very easy, and you don't have to worry.
I just felt confident that that Wendy Wu would know, the best places to go and the best things to do, and it's proved so far on the trip. It's proved correct.
I've been really impressed with not only right from the start when I rang up to book. The staff in the office were really helpful, just kind of organising things and making sure that we got all the right paperwork in.
Our national escort was Lily. Lily's been fantastic, so full of energy and so helpful. She calls us Lily's family. She's always referring to us as Lily's family. And I think she's really helped us actually bond as a group, which made the whole trip much more enjoyable.
The Great Wall was extraordinary. It genuinely brought tears to my eyes, looking out and understanding the history, and just seeing how it was built in inhospitable terrain across the mountain ridges. It was awe-inspiring.
Wendy Wu staff, the local guides, our national guide Lily, they've been more than helpful on many occasions, and they have done absolutely everything they can to ensure that we've had the trip of a lifetime.
I hugged a panda, which was an amazing experience and one that I will never forget.
I recommend Wendy Wu Tour to everybody, and tell them that if they want to go to China, nobody better than Wendy Wu Tour.
I will recommend Wendy Wu. It's been a terrific experience with them. I've been very pleased.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I'd recommend it to people that want to go on an adventure and visit somewhere they'd probably only see once, but to see the authenticity rather than just the tourist highlights that you could see internet.
I will certainly recommend Wendy Wu Tours when I go back to England. In fact, I'm sure we'll be going on more Wendy Wu Tours because we want to go to Vietnam and other places, and I'll see Wendy Wu do those tours, so we'll certainly be booking again with Wendy Wu.